Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Debbie and this is my crafty home and I've been making gift tags. So I've been using mason jar lids to create these really cool little decorative gift tags for parcels and to put in envelopes with Christmas cards and just as little extras. So I think they turned out just adorable. And all I did was started with some mason jar lids that I had cleaned up and taken the stickers and labels off. And I painted them with 2 coats each side with this chalk paint. Now, I thought it might only take 1 coat, but it took 2, and I used rubber gloves a couple of times in this project because holding these tiny little lids and trying to paint them was quite messy. So while the lids were drying, I decided I'd go through my napkin stash and find out the pieces that I could use for this project. And I got to tell you, it's hard to find pictures that were what I wanted to use and still would fit on those little lids. They're not very big. So I choose a few different napkins and cut apart the bits that I wanted to use and cut off parts that were no good and made myself a nice little pile. So to Mod Podge these on, I decided to use dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I didn't have any high gloss, and that is actually what I would have preferred to use because these are like little Christmas ornaments and I didn't want them to be flat. I wanted them to have a little bit of shine to them. So it was pretty easy to put these on here, like one little tap using a really soft bristled brush, and you've got it stuck down where you want it to go. And then you just basically go from the center and you softly brush out, making sure that you've got quite a bit of Mod Podge on your brush. So there's a little trick with this too. If you can keep these wet enough, then put a little Mod Podge on your finger and just gently press down and rub down, and you can get any of those little wrinkles out as well. I really wanted to use this napkin. I just thought it was so pretty. It was almost too big, but I worked around with it and I made it fit. I would have liked more space around the head. The antlers went right to the edge, but I really wanted to use this one. So I knew that there were a few that I wanted to add maybe a few more embellishments to than other ones. And for that, I'd need a little bit more of a plain background. And this was the other 3/4 of the napkin from the deer head that I just used. So I just used some of this white background with these snowflakes on it. I just thought it was pretty as well, and I didn't want it to go to waste. And the next one I had was this napkin that had these ornaments on here. And it was so, so pretty. I knew that this would decorate a tag all on its own. So once you've got a nice pile of dry lids, make sure they're dry. And you're going to take a nail file or a sanding block and you're going to push away from the lid, not towards it, but away from it on that outside sharp edge. And this will cut your paper off all the way around your lid and give you a really crisp, clean edge. And it is the best way to cut your paper off. Make sure that you're always taking your file and pulling it away from that edge because this is really curved around the edge. And the first time that I Mod Podged it on, all of these little edges weren't glued down really good. So once I've got my excess paper off, I can take my brush with my Mod Podge and go around those edges, lift them up with the brush a little bit, make sure you get some Mod Podge in underneath, And I even used the edge of my paintbrush there to make sure that they were laid down really, really flat. And then I gave another coat of Mod Podge over the top, and I repeated this process with all my lids. Now I'm going to start turning these into tags. This is the first one I did, and I'm going to show you because I'm going to make another one. So with this one, with the deer head, I decided that it didn't need a ton of embellishment, but I used my white Sharpie. It's a oil-based paint pen, and I have them in gold, silver, white, and red, I believe. I got them from Dollarama, and they're amazing for projects like this. So I added the snow and gave it a quick dry. It only takes a second to dry as well. And then I think that these little lids, once they're decoupaged, look like little Christmas plates. I really do. So Christmas plates a lot of times have a gold edge around them. So that's what I decided I was putting on these. I put a gold edge with this marker all around. These markers are amazing. And they're not really a marker. They are a paint pen, but they're oil based. And this is permanent. It's not coming off of here. So you can wipe these down, and because I used the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, these are going to be able to be wiped down if they get dusty or anything like that. Now to put the hole in the top, and I used this for all my lids, I used my crocodile. That thing just chomps its way through anything. Even these metal lids, I mean, it was no harder than going through paper. So if you don't have that, you could probably just take your twine or your ribbon, whatever you're going to use for your loop, and just hot glue it to the back. So I decided these needed a bell, guys. These ones are not going to be shipped. So I won't ship these two because I put bells on them. For the most part, I tried to keep these pretty flat so that I could put them in a card or on a gift that I was going to ship, and it wouldn't bulk it out anymore. But yeah, these just turned out cute. And on the back of all of them, I used my paint pen. I have paint pens from various different companies, but paint pens are really, really great. And I just wrote Merry Christmas and then to and from on the back of all of these. And because it's just chalk paint on the back, you can write on that with a pencil, you can write on it with a marker. Pretty much anything will write on that chalk paint. Okay, on to the next set. I knew I was going to put some wooden embellishments on here and that I was going to paint them black because that was the idea that I had. So of course I'm going around the outside rim of these with black, and then I decided to put a black border around the inside of this as well, just to be a little bit different. And once I had my rims done in black and I was ready to do them, I just punched my holes. Like I said, you don't need a crocodile to do this. You could just make a loop and hot glue it onto the back if you wanted to. So I went through my little bowl of wooden pieces. I have all kinds of little words and little pieces because I buy them every time I see them. And I chose the ones I was going to use. And then I used the black oil paint pens from Sharpie to paint them black. And I added a word, and a deer to each one of these tags. I'm sorry, I always pull everything towards me when I'm working on it, and I end up being out of frame. I do that so much, and I apologize. But this is what they're going to look like, and I'm going to hot glue them on here. These tiny little bits were hard to hot glue. They were hard to hold on to. I really should have got one of those silicone fingertips out for this one because, I mean, right here, I dropped it. I had to pick it back up. And I think right there was where I burnt my finger. So I used my tweezers to get a little bit of the hot glue that squeezed out. I didn't want to leave that in there. And I decided to use some green twine on these for the ties. And this twine was really slippery. So a little trick if you're trying to make a bow stay and not slide through, I put a tiny little dot of glossy accent right in the knot and it doesn't show. The black and red buffalo check tags are next. So I'm painting a bunch of these little wooden bits white because I want them to just pop off of that red and black. And then while these were drying, I decided that I wanted to play around with a little bit of shimmer. So I put a little Mod Podge around the wide rim part on the outside of this lid, and I used a little bit of my shimmer dust and I sprinkled that on there. I only did one of these. I almost did two, but I changed my mind because I wasn't exactly sure if that was the look I was going for or not. But these lids are the ones from those teddy bear napkins. And a couple of them have the gift on there, and a couple of them have the teddy bears. And I went over them really well with Mod Podge and then the shimmer dust. So these were going to be frosty. I didn't want them to be full on glitter. I just wanted them to look frosty. And it's diamond shimmer dust. I got that at Dollarama. So yeah, these are going to be pretty when they're dry. When they finish drying completely, I took a large paintbrush and I rubbed it over there to get all the excess off. I don't want to cover my picture over. I just want the shimmer. And these turned out so pretty. The camera doesn't do them justice. They just have such a shine to them. I probably should have done this part before the shimmer dust, but I decided that these had that vibe. They had that Christmas plate vibe with that little raised edge on them, and I just felt they had to have gold rims on them. So when I painted the lids white, I also painted 4 lids with black chalk paint. I wasn't sure if I was going to use any of them, but I decided to take a couple and turn them into the little Let It Snow signs that are so popular. Now, this was really hard to do. The tip on this paint pen is fairly broad, and this lid is fairly small, but I think I did okay. At least I did my best. So the next 2 ornaments are absolutely simple. Using a 2-inch circle punch, I just punched out a couple of images from a piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm hot gluing them onto the center of the lid. I mean, you could turn out dozens in no time at all if you were doing them this way. They turn out really cute too. So I just hot glued them on there, and then I decided to go with jute cord. I tied the jute cord through the hole after I punched it, added a little sprig of berries and the tiniest little jute bow, and I was done. So all done, and I am thrilled. I have 19. I thought I made 20, but I can't find the other one. There was an awful lot of mess on my table, so I may have put it away with some of my other stuff. So just let me show you a few. These 2 were made using the same napkin. So it had this pattern on the one section, and the other 3 sections, when it's folded into the 4, the other 3 sections were just this snowflake pattern, which I thought was really pretty. So I decided to use it on a couple of these. And I wish I had have done more now, because with the simple little embellishment on here, that background is absolutely gorgeous. So I love these. And I decided to use the green string on these. Now with those deer head ones, I added some snow, little dots of white paint for the snow, the gold rim, these gold snowflakes, and a gold bell, and put the tie on them. So I have a couple of those. I have a couple of the Let It Snow ones that I just painted on with my Sharpie metallic paint pen. So that's what I used for a lot of these. And I actually had to dig out a little bit of my acrylic paint just to put that little dot of orange on there for his nose. Yeah, but I got those ones. These ones here, I wasn't sure how I was going when I did them, so I put a black rim on this one. And then I put a gold, just a small gold rim on this one. And I like both of them, but I like the way the black rim on this changes the check, changes that buffalo check feel. It makes, with that black, it just makes it different. So, but to leave it so that it wasn't like just black, I decided to put a little bit of the diamond shimmer dust on here. No shimmer dust on this one. It was just plain simple. It kind of looks like you've embellished a little miniature charger to me with this little gold rim. I love it. This one's very plain. I didn't put any paint or anything on here. I just painted these little wood bits with a little bit of white so that they'd pop off a little bit more, and then added the little dots for the snow. And then I have the Believe. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to add the snow to this one, but I don't think so. Maybe not for this one. Then I have the 2 that I made last, which were a little more on the rustic side. And all I did with these was I used the painted lids and my 2-inch paper punch, punched a little bit out of some whimsical scrapbooking paper and glued it on. I hot glued it on and added my bow and these little cones, just these little pip berries and cones that I have in my stash. I'm not even sure where I got them. It could have been Dollar Tree. It might have been Dollarama. But that with the jute twine and the little jute bow, I like those. I guess I don't have a favorite. I like them all. I know there's another one of these stumbling around somewhere. There's another lid with an ornament on, because I remember Mod Podging it on there. So I just added the word Believe, because if you add too much more to this, it'll be too busy. But the Believe in gold and the gold rim. And that's what I did with these. Love the ornament on the ornament type of style. I haven't got Merry Christmas and To and From on the back of all of them yet, but I love this one here. I decided not to put the shimmer dust on one of these. I may still go around this with a gold pen and paint that gold. Not sure yet. Got to think about it for a bit. But with these ones, I thought the napkin was the art. So all I did was add a little wee bit. I don't even know if you can see that very much, but there's a really little bit of shimmer dust. And as you saw through the video, I put a little Mod Podge on here, put the shimmer dust on quite heavy, let it dry, and then brush it off really good so that, I mean, there's nothing coming off of this now because everything that's not glued down has been brushed right off. So that's how I did these last 3. I just think these are so cute. And I've left nice long ties on all of these so I can put them on a parcel and have enough left over to tie a bow. just to let you know, you can buy lids in packages of 12, I believe. I didn't have to because I've got dozens and dozens of these, because the lids only get used once when you're canning. You replace this lid. You can reuse the ring, but you replace this lid. So I have dozens of these because I never throw them away when I'm done. I just throw them in the sink when I have a handful, wash the stickers off the top, and then use them for crafts. So if you don't have any left over from canning, you don't have any canning jars, then just you can go ahead and buy these, and they are fairly inexpensive. And you could just buy one package and get a nice even dozen tags out of them. So the other reason I left so much of the tie on here is because once these are used, you can just tie a little knot at the top of your tie, and you've got a little ornament for your tree. So the gift that keeps on giving. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. I'm just trying to build this channel, and I'd be really excited if you subscribed and we could become friends. And I will see everybody in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye for now.